Hello, it's Dr. Wendy Rowley of the Wonder of Human Design YouTube channel. And this is the playlist series, Are You Ready for Your Growth Period? This is episode number 7, and it's titled, What is the Purpose of a Growth Period? So, when I've gone to events, group events that are large, the large kind that she says that can be like 3 months coming, an event, and then 3 months of the energy working after the event. One of the things I've noticed is there's this feeling of expansion after the event. Like things are just opening and flowing, and something is shifting. And the best way I can think to say it is it's like an expansion. It's like my sense of awareness has expanded. My sense of connection often feels expanded. Particularly, sometimes I've noticed to nature, sometimes wonderfully to people. And because I always say life's easy except for the people part. That's where all the tricky part is. And sometimes it feels like there's new information coming in, and I'll start to have some ahas of maybe I can think of something in a different way. Maybe I can do a project in a different way. It's like more creative juice. So it's like expansion, it's like creative juice, and it's like a heightened sense of awareness. And I would say those are the three things that I often feel after an individual healing and the larger group healings when you go to group healing work. So other than that, I don't really know what the purpose of the growth period is, other than what we've kind of discussed and what we know. Get rid of something that no longer serves us, an old consciousness, an old thought pattern, an old emotion, but basically, my original teacher, a spiritualist reverend of meditation, she had said to me that it all comes down to is self-love. That you've got to get to the point where you love yourself, and then you can love others. And then when you think that through, there's a lot of wisdom to it. So self-love is a journey, and I sometimes think it's the earth journey, because it sure takes a long time to get there. And you can have moments and pockets, and then sometimes it goes away, and then it comes back, and you keep working it, and la la la. But I'm in the healing arts, so that's my nature. Okay, so let's see why Aliania says what is the purpose of a growth period. Okay. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. I'm Aliania of Cosmic Service of Palladian Mother Sound. We're going to take off her glasses for the distraction of the colors in the lenses that keep going by from the lights, because we're on a roll, and she doesn't want to keep adjusting the curtains as the sun moves around through its day. But she likes natural light. So she may not be the most polished person on YouTube, but she's probably one of the most juicy. We may be so bold as to say that, based on her work. Okay, so what is the purpose of a growth period? But before we do that, we would like to make another offering for those that decide they want this. We would like to do this one, you can think of it as an activation recalibration, because the paradigm is shifting as it opens and becomes more sophisticated and elegant. More pieces and parts of the working machinery of the creational levels are working together. That's one way to say it. So this, should you decide you would want this activation is an intuition upgrade into the growth period. Because you made a connection for soul for the golden akashas into the growth period, but you didn't make an intuitive connection to perceive that. So you upgrade your sensing to perceive at the new and higher level of more refined and higher golden akasha information. And that's what you have the opportunity to have here in this, should you want it. So we're going to go do that in sound, and then we'll be back. As strange and as weird as as this one's work is, by doing the sound, she chose to do it. So we're not just sitting here in silence on YouTube and going, are they done? I don't know. How do you tell? I can't tell. Is she going to say something? What's going on? So the sound lets you know that's going on. It gives you a little bit of information, but the sound also allows people to have more experiences, believe it or not, because first there was the sound, and the sound goes into light, color, symbol, pictures, and words. So it has an opportunity to go into many aspects of your sensing. We call it the sensing apparatus. Some people call it the genetic entity. It's your 5 physical, spiritual senses and your pineal communication sensing of these 5 senses in the creational level. And so those go all the way to the soul. So there you are. Okay, so there's more ability to sense in more ways. So we have to upgrade that intuition to perceive those senses and to perceive those growth periods and those new akashas. And that's basically what this is. So, and that's why we do it in sound, because the sound lends a richer experience. It lets people know when it begins and when it ends. It lets some healers and shamans know, oh, okay, this is the soul coming into our fibers. Brr, brr, little engine, beautiful sound, soul in the fibers. Brr, 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 engine sound. Our soul force's engine of change and healing is working. And if there's a at the universal life level, we've all released a complex at the interface of our individual and group higher self on the human consciousness grid. And if there is, it means that there is an increase of energy being shifted into some of the filters of the soul forces that come in through some of the filters, 8th, 11th, or 17th. And there's pathways in there for soul, and sometimes they are strengthened and upgraded and recalibrated. So if you hear wind, no, there's some sort of upgrade of soul into these filters. And these filters have never really been discussed. This one always thinks of them as being something that you have to clear through and there's junk in them. No, these filters are beautiful, magnificent, and part of something divine. And that's what we're going to say about that. Okay, so here we go. Let's do this and then we'll come back. All right, dearest beings of light. This again is Alania of Cosmic Service, a Pleiadian Mother of Sound. And your soul group, soul guides of the higher Krishna beings would have made your connections based on your intention. And this one, we're going to share what she saw because she has studied the spiritual anatomy, including the new unfolding one. And she saw the old pathway of the ancestral energy, because you have at the creational level, you have 3 levels of ancestral. You have the ancestral, you have ancestral health. Ooh, you're creating a body together as a race, not as a race, as a planet. You create your bodies. And as I get out of the way, give her a moment, because she started to think, contemplate that. So you have let's give her a moment. There she goes. So you have your ancestor, you have your ancestral health, and then you actually have an ancestral pineal communication system, because you're all create together at the group level. And in the ancestral level, at the higher creational level, you have these 3 ancestral layers. And she saw us take us off the old pathway for intuition, go up to a new pathway, connect that new pathway to another pathway, and then she saw at the soul level, the old pathway being taken off and the new pathway connected. So that's the new intuitive pathway that comes through the golden akashas of intuition. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the system. And she's like, well, what was the name of this? Get out of the way. Get out of the way. So the system has aspects in it of evolution, healing, and creating. And we gave a hint in one of these videos just a while ago where we said Gaia, and we associated Gaia with creating. And we associated divine intelligence before in another video as being like a lock and key that allows energies and evolution and healing to go forward. And we've described the Christ healing consciousness force that you all have as you connect into the planet, into the system here, and as you all have a Christ healing spirit body in your higher self's interface of your spirit body between the individual and group higher self on the human consciousness grid. So I'm an individual in a body with a higher self that's individual. And all my particular lifetimes are there. But I morph in my soul as I leave that energy into an interface where it's my individual to all the group higher selves. And that becomes a group higher self. We call it a group higher self spirit body on the human consciousness grid. So you have an aspect that is individual, but you are also connected to the group. And in your spirit body, the interim spirit body, you also have pathways of this in the spirit body. The left side of your body is individual, and the right side of your body is group. Not related to the higher self or Christ healing spirit body. These are related to generalized energy within the spirit body. And it's part of polarity, believe it or not, because that's a system that serves. Okay, so we're just giving some things because we got advanced people here, we got newbies here, we have to sort of spread little percolations for everyone. So don't frost over, know that there's something coming for you. Okay, so we have this intuition pathway. We have this Christ healing spirit body pathway. So we know divine intelligence is a key that allows things to go forward in evolution and healing for humanity. We know that Gaia has something to do with creation. And we know that the Christ healing consciousness force that sort of winds down eventually into our individual spirit body through the higher self is a healing and evolution force. So, okay. So we know we have these golden akashas where all the good creations and inventions of the past and the rationale for them is stored on the human consciousness grid, as well as all of your soul's wisdom and learning is in your golden akash. There's a group golden akash of ancestors on the human consciousness grid. And you also have now a akash that you can access on the Christ interim grid and a akash you can access on the Christ mastery grid or soul creational grid, soul mastery grid. Whatever words work for you. Don't get hung up on the words. Just stay with the concept. Words can light you up, and it means if you're stuck on a word that someone said, it's a block in your past life. Okay, that's all we have to say about that. Okay, so someone needed to hear that because they're lighting up. Okay, so the uh, energy of intuition can come either through the Christ healing spirit body or through Gaia. But why do we associate creation to Gaia, to your connection to the planet, to Gaia, to Mother Earth consciousness? Because this system is filled with lots of other consciousnesses. What if you thought of Gaia as an actual living consciousness? What if you thought of the Christ healing force as an actual living consciousness? And what if you thought of divine intelligence of the creative source as an actual living consciousness? And within that consciousness that make it up are lots of other beings besides humans that work the puzzle and help you. So what if you can't create certain things on the earth unless they're in alignment for the greater good as a check and balance? And what if you can't create certain types of healing unless there's a certain alignment for checks and balances to get the key through divine intelligence to open and allow those things to flow? Okay, so now inventions and ideas are able to come through any of these golden akashas. And what that means is that you are ready for more advanced inventions and creations. And how does that happen? Those come through the Gaia consciousness at the periphery of the planet, through the interim Christ grid or soul creational grid. Think of that being in the middle between the human grid, where you're recording all your good and bad stuff, and the ancestral gold is there, and the Great Global Healing Party talks a lot about healing through that and getting up to that gold layer. And what if you have this other consciousness within the Christ healing spirit body? But what if the Gaia consciousness is connected to the higher wisdom of inventions that the Supreme Being, divine intelligence, releases when things are in alignment properly? Another system of checks and balances. Okay, so some of you have heard in your past about what is called time capsules. This work was originally brought forward actually in the early 19th century by a few people, and it was further expanded on a lot by Lee Carroll of Cryon. And he talks a lot about us and about these things and about how if you clear the grid, it's like taking out something old and the soul can bring in something new. Same thing when you work at the noosphere level. If you clear as a group of people who created it, large family groups, tribes, and nations, and start clearing the grids, it creates a push-pull engine, as Lee Carroll and Cryon said, that then allows new information to come in. And that information is in our, what are called time capsules. We brought all of our inventions, solutions, and spiritual wisdom with us, which is why we know who we are and why we know our history so well, because you need your information with you to know who you are, which is why you have a spirit body, and even when you're in a physical body, because it keeps you connected to source and soul. And so an evolved planet has that ability to take that information with them between planets. And so we brought ours here, we laid it here in the very beginning, and now in the system you're in with the clearing and all the things we've talked about, they're all over the Great Global Healing Party, they're all over this one's websites, they're all over. Many other people are bringing forward this information on the web at this time. Now these time capsules begin to come forward and percolate their information out of new inventions. And this is already literally starting. And how that comes through for the time capsules, through the intuition to people, is through the Gaia consciousness. And we already said intuition is in your Christ healing spirit body. But if you weren't connected to Gaia consciousness before the great shift, you couldn't access and get that information to come down into a human. But now we're saying Gaia, all three globes that you are, or spheres, or the music of the spheres, the engines of planetary change, these things have a lot of different names. But now these three consciousnesses and forces, or even living living consciousnesses, if you can think of a consciousness being alive and part of divine intelligence, and that's all we're going to say about that. Maybe these three living consciousnesses, forces, and consciousnesses are now able to bring in more information because they've all been connected into the Christ healing spirit body. See? Humans have to be in cooperation for the greater good of all with divine intelligence for certain things to go forward. And enough humans on the earth have all come forward and said, let's do this. And there's groups formed, and there's people doing this work, and there's other people, and more people are going to form groups to do this. It's going to become a thing. And this one is going to take the Great Global Healing Party, and she's going to take all the themes, and she's going to take exactly what we did, and we will proofread it, and she's going to make it available for anyone who wants to do a grid party so they have the themes to work through. Because these are the 16 consciousnesses that are cleared out in the end-of-life bardo, or the end of your incarnation bardo, or when you pass away. You are stripped of unhealed things in 16 consciousnesses, and one major final one that you all have, which is universal, so we don't count it as a consciousness. But these 16 consciousnesses basically have sub-levels of every disharmony that humans have ever had. And so those generalized themes can be given out as a handout for people to follow, and she's going to do that for free and put that out there on the Great Global Healing Party after the June solstice. Because after the June solstice, anyone can form a Great Global Healing Party and lend the healing to the grid, and it'll all go forward now. Because that system is in place. You're ratcheting forward, going forward. The first group of people that showed up for the Great Global Healing Party did a lot of this work to get this done. But they did, and here you are. So that's one thing that's going to happen, that can be done. But we just wanted to say that intuition now can move through into the Christ healing spirit body from 3 levels of consciousness, 3 levels of Akash, and our records that have very, very good inventions in them that will help you, that you need, so you don't keep digging up the earth and doing all sorts of stuff. You need to leave your system of your planet kind of the way it is, because it has a structure and a form that it's designed in that you don't want to disturb with those minerals. And that's all we're going to say about that. You can contemplate that any way you want. So our voice went down a little bit. Oh, sorry for that. This is Aliene of Cosmic Service. This is what we wish to share with you this day. If this is a little disjointed, just forgive this one for thinking on some of these new thoughts that are coming in that she is contemplating, and she does the best she can to be a pure channel for you. Peace be with you, and we will see you in the next episode of this series. Are you ready for your next growth period? This is Dr. Wendy Rowley. You have to forgive my giggle. I'm laughing a little bit because I think she played a little bit of a joke. I felt like I saw her standing behind me, and it was like she pretended to be Superman. She put her arms up and pretended to fly up like a Superman. I think I caught that, Ellen, and that was cute. Thank you. Got to keep that energy upbeat after serious information, and I just thought that was kind of cute. She's very considerate. Like I said, I took her around at a mill and had her interviewed with people and made sure I had the right kind of cap, because I'm not opening myself up unless it's a worthwhile and a right kind of pilgrim. I'm not going to be a pilgrim for anything that I'm not comfortable with. Okay, so this is Dr. Wendy Rowley. Thanks for checking out this rather far out and weird work, but there's so much beauty and blessings in this, and give it a try. Okay, see you in the next episode.